Hi everyone, thank you for coming. I'm the Learning Resources Center Director here at Western Oklahoma State College. This is our Poetry Slam. We are very pleased to welcome Eddie Wilcoxon as our MC. He's the former Poet Laureate for Oklahoma for 2011-2012. And I'm going to let him take it away on this. Okay.
Well, we want to thank everybody for coming out. Some of you were here for the last Poetry Slam, and it was a really terrific event. I want to take just a moment to mention that this is especially fun for me because as Poet Laureate for the state, one of the things that I did is I traveled all over Oklahoma and got a chance to talk to people about my platform for poetry, which was great. See, I didn't know I had to have a platform, but when they called me up and they said, you are Poet Laureate, you've been chosen by the governor, and he's signed the deal, and you're it. What is your platform? And I said, I have a platform, and they said, you have to have a platform. And I said, poetry for the people. And it really worried them. But that really was my platform. I think that too often we find that poetry has been turned into a very esoteric, intellectual study that just doesn't resonate. And I'm happy to say that the things you're going to hear tonight are going to resonate. You're really going to enjoy this process. And I've heard a number of these people before, and it's going to be terrific. So please be supportive and enjoy what we're doing. Now, has everybody got your ticket, your magic ticket? We don't want anybody left out. All right, so we'll have a drawing on that in a little bit, and the prizes are wonderful. Okay, all right, we have a confirmation on it.
Say what they are.
All right, we're going to make that up as we go along. Well, we got a lot of people that we need to get to the microphone, so let's get started. And first up, we're going to welcome Cassidy Snelling. Now, Cassidy is a sophomore in liberal arts, and we're going to learn more about smile. Please welcome Cassidy.
Hello. Okay, there we go.
Would you like it a little lower?
Sure.
We can do that. Well,
Manuel, I think we thought we were having giants.
say when.
Oh, I wrote this poem for my grandma, and it's called Smile. Your smile is alluring, very welcoming and deep. It's shameless with pride, it's very unique. It shows who you are, your smile is alluring. It catches the eye, it's strong and quizzically sly. Your smile is appealing when laughing out loud, joyous at times, not topped with a frown. Your smile is alluring, inviting towards those you meet. Your smile is a gift you use daily, unguarded and easily as readable as a book. Gives joy to your loved ones, your smile is alluring.
How many of you guys have ever done a poem publicly before? How many have not and are going to make the step today? That's a big step. But yeah, give them a hand, guys. One of the things that I have on the wall at my house is a saying that has really been helpful to me, and I think it should be helpful to all of you. And it says, the woods would be very quiet if only the best birds sang. And everybody's got a voice, and this is a wonderful opportunity to use yours in the midst of a supportive group of people who are interested in hearing what you have to say. Next up is another sophomore majoring in liberal arts. It's Charlotte Hightower, and Charlotte's poem is Shadow of a Soldier.
Hello, everyone. I wrote this probably about 8 years ago. I just thought I'd share it with y'all. Caught in the shadow of a soldier. In a cold and empty hangar, next to a long, bumpy runway, she clutches her children tightly as they watch the plane fly away. Restlessness takes over. She glances down to her boys. When will they see him again? For today, he was deployed. his mission is yet to start. However, hers, it wages on. It started the moment he said goodbye. She entered her own war zone. Emotion is her enemy. Her objective, to remain strong. Her cause are 2 little boys. Her job, protect the home front while he's gone. Daily, her thoughts run rapid. Her world never at ease. Only when he's back in the safety of her arms will the chaos and havoc cease. They pray each night together, tiny fingers intertwine. She hears their words and she crumbles, though she weeps silently inside. Dear Lord, we miss our daddy. Please bring him safely home. For our mama, well, she doesn't sleep, and she cries a lot when he is gone. In their words, she finds comfort, yet sadness and despair. They too are fighting little troops when daddy's got to go over there. It seems it would be simple. She's fought this battle before, but it never gets any easier when it involves the word war. Firsthand, she's learned the meaning of endurance and sacrifice, and her heart became an anchor when she became the military's wife. In the shadow of a soldier, she stands composed and strong, yet she's involved in every mission, but she fights at home alone. Weeks she's been through the trains, those weeks that seem like years. It's been hard work, it's been separation, it's been his sweat mixed with her tears. In the shadow of a soldier, she stands composed and strong. She stands prideful, she stands true within his shadow. And it hurts like hell, and it wears her down, but she knows she has a job to do.
Next up to the microphone is another sophomore, majoring in biology, Tracy Nuri, with structural flow.
It's actually called structural flaw.
Structural who?
Structural flaw.
Okay, got it. That we had one of those. Flaw.
Yeah. Works. Irony does not escape thee as I write out each letter with pain. So many flaws or false claims of safety. I find this whole dang thing inane. The strongest of muscles, most frequently broken, it comes in a cage, yet we hand out the key. To be worn on one's sleeves, to be thrown in the wash, and beaten on rinse and repeat. We claim ourselves brilliant, yet it makes us near doltish, our behavior and thoughts both alike. We march ever closer with each damning downbeat, though it bring us nay closer and right. With words of forever, or acts done unselfish, we ask of each other what one cannot keep. So down with the Sam Cook and all the run down hooks, it better be safe and not leap.
By the way, I want to mention that we have not only the student divisions going on now, but we'll have the community division, and then later on, open microphone. So if you're inspired by what you hear and you're wanting an opportunity to jump in yourself, we'd love to hear from you. Next up to the microphone is first of our freshmen this evening, majoring in liberal arts, Cade Drury. Love is a necessity.
Hello everyone. Tonight I didn't bring a copy of my poem because I memorized it, so forgive me if I have a little bit of a break part, for lack of a better term. Love is a necessity, the quintessential nutrient on which life feeds. The joyful feast of ecstasy has food enough for all to eat, but not all choose to receive the gifts of selfless brothers. Existence is a story, an epic tale written in our own pen and ink. a tragedy, a comedy, the author of our destinies tells us where the story leads from cover to cover. Pain is a reality, but hell can only be real if we let it be. And victory can be achieved only when those who do believe in themselves do not deceive themselves or others. Life is not a salary. A gallery of all life's trophies cannot be a family. Community is not a living commodity, and harmony follows the beat set by peace's lovers. Conformity's a fallacy. Soullessness the product of uniformity. Catastrophe inevitably occurs when we refuse to see where hatred leads because we need to be like all the others. Heaven isn't just a dream. It's a possibility if we plant the seed of purity. Animosity is a universal blasphemy. And universal blasphemy, but love for peace is all we need to let this world recover. Thank you.
That's why the rest of us are cheating. It's a hard thing. We appreciate it. Grant Reeves is up next, sophomore, majoring in liberal arts, and the poem is Yet. Last call for Grant. We'll move Grant to the bottom and see where we go from there. Majoring in business administration, Latricia Stanford, and the poem is There Is No Greater.
This is the thing that sent a dying world the Savior. We can rest assured that it wasn't based on none of our behaviors. You see, he commended this towards us while we were still sinners. Because you see, we were all born into sin, but the price that he paid made sure we could have a new beginning and be born again. No man took his life. He willingly laid it down for a friend. This is the thing that will help us keep his commandments, writing them on the tablets of our hearts. Not a bunch of rules and regulations known as the law, which were never given to us from the start. But it was to make us see that we need Jesus and that I can do nothing apart. I cannot give this thing to you if I do not first acknowledge and receive his. Otherwise, I'd be giving you something artificial like they do in Hollywood and in showbiz. You see, that's the only way I can give this thing to you. I must first receive myself, purifying my heart and filling my soul until there's no room left. No room for bitterness, malice, jealousy, unforgiveness, or selfishness. You see, I could go on and on, because without this thing, all types of ungodliness would try to exist. What is this thing I speak of that transforms our old nature, that is patient and kind? It is not jealous or boastful or proud or rude. It does not demand its own way. It is not irritable, and it keeps no record of being wrong. It does not rejoice about injustice, but rejoices whenever the truth wins out. It never gives up, never loses faith. It is always hopeful and endures in every circumstance. This thing that I speak of is love. You see, God is love.
Our next presenter, a sophomore majoring in liberal arts, is Mary Ann Calloway. The poem is A Woman of Complexity.
Sorry, I didn't dress up for the event. Forgive me. The words flowing through me like a waterfall, day and night, my pen telling the paper my secrets and all. Nothing is sacred in the world of written word. A secret has no home here. The lines have been blurred. A need to expand, to explore, to explain, to exploit. A spinning words to fit my purpose. One would call me adroit. Pause a moment for laughter, for brief contemplation. A mask for every motion, the queen of persuasion. To become my mother's daughter is my greatest apprehension. To feel, to empathize is beyond her comprehension. So I write to battle the demons waging war in another dimension. The battle for my mind, my soul, it requires my full attention. You think you know me, yet you cannot begin to comprehend the depth of emotion. The fear in my soul, it is not just me at once, no, needs to control. I battle now in the darkness of a full moon's light. Seeing is not all that is required of sight. Why do I write? Where do I commence? The best offense is a good defense. It makes perfect sense. To blur the lines of fiction and reality. So when you look, do you know or see the real me? Tucked deep inside, far from those who observe. However, to write is to bring forward the emotions, the need to preserve. A deep despair written off without a care, to form a bond of emotions and words. The masks come off, the war has been fought. Can a girl hope to find all that she has lost? Can she conquer her fears, dispelling the hate? Will she finally see the beauty before it is too late? This battle takes place in a world void of hope, finding it within herself to prevail the slippery slope, to learn, to love, and to live anew. In the brilliance of the sun, this woman's debut. Blood does not create your destiny. How you live is your legacy. To desire so desperately, feeling empathy is ecstasy, especially to one who lived so recklessly, to right the wrongs successfully. The little girl who stood still as stone so breathlessly. She is no more. She is now a woman living life with complexity.
Marianne, never apologize when you're wearing new sneakers.
Okay, these are actually.
They look good. No, they do. We have, for our next presenter, L. Niaz. Raise your hand. Where are you? No? Yes? Okay. I was going to find out what the L stood for.
I know.
Okay. Now we're going to have a dual performance from a couple of freshmen in liberal arts and physical engineering sciences. Please welcome up Foster Ford and Jordan Scott with Play Ball. You guys need two mics? No. You don't need any? Oh, well, all right.
I grab the ball and step on the mound. I stand up tall and glare my opponent down. Batter, 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 says the stands, full of chattering and clapping their hands.
I step up to the plate and grip the bat tight, staring as I wait to put the ball in flight over the lights, trying to block the sounds of the crowd and focus in so I can control my nerves as my head spins.
Is it you that has come to challenge me? If it is so, for me, a comedy, but for you, a tragedy. I am the best at what I do. In your eyes, I can see fear. I'm the best at what I do, like William Shakespeare.
Let me tell you something about the truth. I will knock the ball over the fence and out of the yard like the old Babe Ruth. To be or not to be, you will be thinking, because my bat is too fast for you to be blinking.
You are no match for a fellow like myself. For countless awards and trophies upon my shelf.
hurl it over the plate if you so dare. That is, of course, if you're not scared. It's just me against you, like the Capulets and the Montagues. And I'm sorry, but I think you just might lose.
We'll see who is victorious at the end of the day. For you are wrong to come and for you to pay. Oh, I stand up tall, and here goes my pitch. You better gear up and swing hard, because here's my best pitch.
Well done.
Who's on first?
Next up, we have an untitled poem. Maybe there's a story behind that. Please welcome Taylor Dishman, majoring in agricultural science.
Sorry, I'm nervous. It's as if I were adrift, a slave to the ocean's currents, isolated and alone. The countless storms, crashing waves, and violent undertows, helpless for no hope has been shown. I reach out for your strength, your rationality, your anchor stability, but you have since set sail. No matter how chilling the water becomes, I still know this is my hell. Even if the sunlight were to break the heavy clouds weighing over me, I could not avail. Your encouraging winds no longer fill my mast. Tears are all that fill my veil. If I ever needed a guiding beacon of faith from a dedicated lighthouse, it would be today. I don't know how much longer my broken hull can take, continuing this way. I know your heart is not that cold, and if you were meant every word, those words you said to me, you'd at least be my friend, even if a marriage does no longer hold us till the end. Please, oh please, please just be my friend and help me not to be alone. I beg you with everything I have, let your light be shown.
Please, a big hand for all of our students. We're going to have a raffle drawing. It's on the list. So where's the Easter basket? Okay, we need the basket. Let's see if I can get away with walking up here without this thing going off. All right, young lady, here's what I need you to do. I need you to reach in there and pull out my ticket. Good. You need to know my number before you start. All right, okay. Reach in there and pull one out. Okay. What's the number on it?
98091.
Woohoo! It's me! Thank you!
Well, you did good. That was almost as good as me. That's my wife. That was good, yeah. In fact, that's even better. Because if you draw mine, people will be suspicious. Yeah, that was good. That's good. And how many more are we going to be drawing as we go along? Save your tickets. We're not done.
We'll do 2 more later, and we can do another one now.
Oh, you want to do one more now? Okay, you can still draw mine then. Woo! Okay. Hey, you're still working, girl. Yeah, reach in there. You need to know my number? All right, what do we got?
9808880.
Woo!
Bingo! Congratulations. Maybe we'll get yours next time. Thank you. Yeah, souvenir. Hang on to it. Well, as part of what we're doing tonight, of course, students from the college here, but also people from the community at large who have a love of the language and words, and they're going to share some things with you. I do want to mention something very quickly, that Joan and I have been elected as co-presidents this year of the Poetry Society of Oklahoma. It's the oldest poetry group in Oklahoma. It was established back in 1934. And our mission as members of the Poetry Society is to do exactly what you guys are doing, just to share the written word and encourage people to do what you guys are doing tonight. But in addition to that, I would like to mention we're interested in forming a local poetry group for the college, which would be a division of the Poetry Society of Oklahoma, and then also a community group as well. And the reason for that is that as a statewide group, we only meet 3 or 4 times a year. And most of the people that are members have found that it's a lot more fun to share your poetry with a group of people like you're doing tonight on a more regular basis. So if we do it on a local basis, we can do it once a month. So if anyone is interested in either a student group, please talk to Joan. Or if you're interested in a community group, talk to Joan. First up, from our non-student category, we'd like to welcome Carol Downs. And Carol's poem is Birthdays.
You could say this group is older. So I'd like to have the podium over here if you don't mind.
It's okay. You're supposed to add wiser, older and wiser.
Oh, yeah, wiser. And whenever he asked if this was your first time, I raised my hand. Because this is my first time. All right. This is my thoughts on birthdays. Birthdays are good for you. The more you have, the longer you live. Don't regret growing old. It's a privilege denied to many. At some point, we stop lying about our age and start bragging. I had a birthday in February, as I have done every February for the past 73 years. This year, on my birthday, I got to thinking about, well, birthdays. All birthdays are important, but some birthdays are milestones and have more significance than others. The first milestone, of course, is number 1. We don't remember that one, but we know it's special because our parents have hundreds of pictures. The next milestone birthday is number 6. This is the year we become old enough to go to school. Although that birthday seems to be watered down a lot, since most kids nowadays have 2 or 3 years of preschool and kindergarten before they ever get to the 1st grade. But 6 is still considered a milestone. The next milestone is 10. That is the year our birthdays have double digits. The next milestone, of course, is 13. We are now a teenager. And that's a big deal because in just 3 years we'll be 16 and we'll be old enough to get a driver's license. And the time between birthdays seems to just drag by. At 18, we become adults with all the responsibilities and privileges that goes along with adulthood. We can vote, join the military, get married, and make decisions for ourselves, whether we're ready or not. Of course, the next significant birthday is 21. We can now legally buy that liquor that we may or may not have been seeking to drink anyway. That pretty much does it for birthdays that bring with them privileges and responsibilities. After that, things sort of go downhill. Big 3-0, 30. That's when we realize we are no longer a part of the younger generation. That can be a very emotional birthday, especially for women. We think we are old. We are now the 30-something generation. We cruise along for the next 10 years, raising our families, building careers, and just living our busy life. And then 40 creeps up on us. That is the year we receive black balloons and coffee mugs that say, over the hill, and lordy, lordy, look who's 40. Our friends tease us about being middle-aged, and we realize they are right. 40 is half of 80. Then before we know it, we're 50. we receive gifts such as Geritol, Polygrip, pens, with our friends joking about us being old. They tell us, but they tell us we are nifty 50. For one thing, they are right up there with us, and they're trying to convince themselves just as much as they're trying to convince us that we can be nifty at 50. Of course, 60 is the next decade birthday. After that, we are sexy 60. After all, 60 is the new 40. That's what they'd say anyway. 65 is the next milestone birthday. We have reached the age of retirement. That's another birthday that's been watered down in significance. Some people retire at 62. Some wait until they're 70 or even older. And according to the year in which we were born, retirement age has been changed from 65 to 69. But 65 is still considered the milestone. 70 is the next decade year. After that, every year is definitely a milestone. If we had known we were going to live this long, we would have taken better care of ourselves. Every birthday after that is truly a gift from God. But wait, all birthdays are gifts from God. And the time between birthdays seems to just fly by. And oh yes, when we get to be 100, Willard Scott will put our picture on a smoker's jelly jar. How many knows what a smoker's jelly jar is? Does anybody know about Willard Scott?
Something to strive for, that's for sure. Please welcome Neva Lou King, Oklahoma's Seasons. All right, come on, tell us a story.
Yes, I'll be reading this for my mother. Oklahoma Seasons. Oklahoma, my native state, you're loved for many reasons. I think I most admire you for your ever-changing seasons. Not every state is honored with choices so grandeur of winter, summer, spring, and fall, yet there our yearly tour. And when our master painter paints sunsets in your summer skies, the beauty overwhelms me and brings tears to my eyes. You have just what it takes to make a perfect autumn day, wild geese flying in formation, putting on their grand display. When I wake in wintry mornings, there is such delight to find a glistening snow-white landscape when I peek out from my blind. Then after a warm, gentle shower, a rainbow in the spring, arcing buttercup-sprinkled meadows of iridescent green. Your changing seasons at their best are sometimes pure elation. That's why they're looked forward to with such anticipation. If asked to choose among them, winter, summer, spring, or fall, I'd just say there's something to love about them all. By Neva King.
Louise Hall will be our next poet, and the poem is Reflections. Or not. Is Juan here? Juan with the poem Dad?
They hear that one too.
Okay. I think you're starting to get a sense of how difficult this is to step up here and share your work. And again, we really appreciate the fact that you guys do, because it enriches us all that you'll take the step and do that. Please welcome Linda Pinkham, Ode to Old.
Kind of a theme going on.
There we
here.
go, yeah.
All the
funny stuff, then we just get old. Tell me, why we hide our age? We whisper or ignore references to old. Sporty 40, nifty 50, senior moment. Over the hill. Enough already. I say it's time to embrace our maturity. After all, every age is special. And what's the alternative to getting old? Yeah, and some stores specialize in merchandising for the young. There's Baby RS, Stork Corner, get rid of those. Toys R Us, Hot Topic, Forever 21, not for me. Why not Geriatric RS? Don't laugh. You're going to be in the same fix one of these days. Yeah, just think, a one-stop shop for all the old age comforts. Canes, walkers with brakes, or no brakes if you're the racy sport. Need a booster seat for the throne? Pick one up. Just the right height, suited for any decor. We could get Depends in fashion colors. A place where we can sport our support hose and orthopedic shoes with style. Nutritional supplements will be in one place and all the shelves will be at least 3 feet high. Oh, lots of extra locations throughout the store just for a sitting after our bodies don't run that fast anymore. And a napping zone. Oh, just imagine. A place where cleanup on aisle 4 has a whole new meaning. Warning labels will not require a magnifying glass, and associates will have to be drawing Social Security. After all, we want to make sure they don't snicker when our teeth fall out. And when we ask to where to find the Geritol, yes, our own little corner of cranky and grumbling. It's time to welcome our declining years as a unique rite of passage.
It makes you want to creak. And our final performer for the non-student poetry portion is Kylan Sherman. If the good die young, I'm going to live forever.
I'd like to thank you guys for calling me the older crowd. That means a lot to me. You guys know that Eddie Wilcoxon here is a karate instructor, right? He's like the most dangerous person in this room. Except for my mom when she gets upset. I love her though. My poem's called If the Good Die Young, I'm Going to Live Forever. This world, filled with ups and downs, people drown and hurricanes destroy towns. Terrorism everywhere we look. People not trying to live by the good book. Some people live, and some people die. But they're in a better place now, so why do we cry? We cry because this world is so cold. Giving up your child because of drugs when he's not even a year old. Some people were dealt bad hands, others really good. That's why I try to see the positive in everything. Well, at least I should. But it's so hard nowadays, because everywhere there's evil. Sometimes I wish I was free, like Jonathan Livingston Seagull. Free? Yeah, right, nothing's free. Except the happiness a child's smile brings. A beautiful green sea, your sweet afternoon tea, or the warm smell of honey in the breeze, or when you cross the finish line you ran for and you finally get to breathe. But I remember, God won't put anything on me more than I can bear. Even when my heart is broken or torn with several tears, even when I say I no longer care, He's there. He will always be there. Let me tell you something about sorrow. I have enough of it if you need some to borrow. If the good die young, then I'm gonna die tomorrow. But let me tell you some people's story. The rapists, molesters, and murderers, and all things gory. When they commit these heinous crimes, they think they're clever. But if the good die young, they're gonna live forever.
Hold on to those tickets. So, where we at? 1 or 2 more? Want another drawing, or is it just one?
Good job.
Only one. What's here?
I'm trying to fight you.
Okay, I'm going to send out those psychic vibes. This better not be yours. All right, what do we got?
989 980-889.
889. All right, congratulations. Okay, are we the part of the program where you guys have to do all the hard lifting? Yeah, okay, good luck. Okay. So they're gonna be working on figuring our winners, and I get a chance to visit and share some of the poetry that I've written. And well, I'm gonna start off. I want to be really serious because I can see it's a serious crowd. So I'm gonna start you off with a question. How many of you guys have ever hypnotized a chicken? This is not a farm crowd. Are you kidding? Did you ever hypnotize a chicken? Well, it's an easy thing to do if you'll just pay attention to what I'm telling you. First, you lay the chicken down. You put it right there on the ground. Now, you're going to have to hold on tightly because they like to flop around. And then you take your finger and you place it by the nose, and then you bring it straight out from the beak. Just like that. About a dozen times or so. And then you gently release the chicken, and it'll just sit there and start to sway. And then the moment passes, and that chicken will up and wobble away. And then you catch another. And soon you'll never be the same. Long before Nintendo, this was a farm boy's favorite game. Now, truly, I have hypnotized the chicken, and I will say this. I will accept that challenge today if anybody has a chicken with you. Yeah, well, you don't go out of your way. But I can do it. Poetry expresses so many different aspects. And one of the things that I've always enjoyed about poetry is the humor of it. When I was real little, I had a lot of things that went wrong physically. And I had polio, and I had a kidney removed. And actually, by the time I was 10 years old, I had lived in the hospital for 5 years. I spent half my life until I was 10 years old in the hospital. And in some ways, that turned out to be a blessing because I spent a lot of time with my mom, and my mom loved poetry. And so she would spend time reading poems to me. And somewhere about the age of 5 or 6, I remember the first poem I ever heard that I thought was just funny. And it was a story about the money talking to each other. All the denominations of money were talking to each other. And I looked for years to find that poem, and I finally went through a search at several major libraries and realized that it's gone. And so I wrote a replacement for it. So this is called The Coins. The silver dollar resplendent told of his wealth and his fame. And the 50-cent piece sighed, you know, I was king here till you came. Well, the quarter said, I'm not royal, but I do make progress wheels turn, and as do I, said the dime, and it's for me that all the children yearn. Well, it's true that I'm not at the top of the heap. The nickel looked a penny's way, but I'm sure not at the bottom. That's all I got to say. And all eyes turned toward the penny, that lowly piece of change, and you could almost hear him sniff. I'm surprised he even came. Well, it's true, the penny said, that I'm not royal, bright, I don't even shine, and sometimes when people drop me, they just leave me there behind. And I'm happy to see that you are all so pleased with the way you help to make things run, and I'm certain that without each of you, there's a lot that wouldn't get done. But you know, in this world, there's a place for us all, said the penny with a happy smile. And when it comes to going to church, I got you all beat by a mile. 60 years ago, I'm sure that was truer than it is today. All right, now this is another true story. that happened in my Boy Scout career. It was on a Boy Scout trip to Bluff Creek, and we were all just swimming and splashing about when Hal stopped everything with this shrieking banshee shout. We all just stared and wondered. As wild-eyed Hal jumped up and down, he was screaming in the water so loud that they could probably hear him back in town, and he was waving his arms around like a scarecrow in the wind. We could not believe the hopped-up state this boy was in, and then suddenly, to our amazement, he started pulling off his swimsuit. He pulled those trunks down ankle high, and he continued to jump and hootle. We were all so embarrassed that we could hardly look at poor old naked Hal there screaming in the brook. We thought he'd lost his marbles, gone clean out of his head, when suddenly, reaching for his privates, he removed a big old crawdad. That was anything but dead. Well, I must admit it, we laughed until we cried, and we won't let Hal forget it until the day he dies. He's immortalized in Boy Scout lore as the master of the crawdads got me in the pants and does it hurt bad, roar. You know, Hal is a grown man many times over, and all you got to do is look at him and just say, crawdad. And he will blush really red. Some things you just never live down. The next poem is also from when I was younger. In fact, it was really about that same time, and it's sort of about basketball, but really it's more about my mom. When I was a kid, I played hard at basketball. I wasn't very good, and I was far from being tall, but I could make a layup, and I hustled down the court, and I played that game with heart. I really was that sort. But I was so very tiny in grade school that a free throw was too long. I lacked the strength to throw that far, and often they'd go wrong. And I remember this one game. It was late and the score was close, and I got fouled. And I knew we needed those points the most. 1 and 1 at the free throw line. Make one and get another. And I was focused, and I was ready. Except I hadn't factored mother. See, my mom went to every game. In fact, each event. She knew a mom's duty when she saw it. It was heaven sent. So as the pressure mounted and the quiet reigned supreme, I pictured myself successful and in a winner's dream, and I bent my knees, I began to shoot. I knew that I was ready, and suddenly a shout shattered all my preparation. It was my mom with, "You can do it, Eddie!" Well, needless to say, I was so embarrassed that I missed that crucial shot. I could have dropped right through the floor, right there on the spot. But now, all these years later, I don't recall one score. I don't remember how many we won or lost. It doesn't matter anymore. But I remember Mom, and I know she was always there, wanting only the best for me. I know she truly cared. And still today, sometimes when things are rocky or some task is hard to do, I still can hear my mom with, "You can do it, Eddie." And it just takes me right on through. Well, see, I don't know, because how many guys grew up on a farm or around a farm? How many have ever seen a farm? How many have driven by a farm? Well, I grew up on a farm in southwest Kansas, and one of the things that happens if you grow up on a farm is you have lots of different kind of pets. And you kind of take those pets where they come. My older brother Lee had a number of rabbits, and we had this hutch out in I don't know if you've ever seen that rabbit wire, but it's got the big openings like that. And we had this hutch, and we had the rabbits out there, and one night a bull snake crawled in through the wire and gobbled up all the little rabbits. And then he was too big to crawl back out. And my brother Lee, true story, came up to the house and said, "I've got good news and bad news. I lost the rabbits, but I've got a pet snake." Well, my brother Don ended up with a pet coyote. And I don't know if you guys know this, but a lot of ranchers are very coyote adverse. And so they'll go into the dens in the spring and they get the little coyotes and they'll kill them. And we happened to see a neighbor who was doing that, and my brother Don was just the most soft-hearted guy. And he just couldn't stand that they were doing that. And he was telling our neighbor Glenn that he shouldn't kill those baby coyotes. And Glenn said, well, Don, I can't do you much good, but I can give you one of them. And so we ended up with a pet coyote named Queenie. And this is the storybook. Coyotes don't make good pets. They're too high-strung and jumpy. Even when you get them young, it makes being around them a little bumpy. Queenie was a bottle baby. Don fed her around the clock. And George and I would help when his chores interfered and Don just couldn't get off. And as Queenie grew and graduated to hard food, she would dine on rabbit. Driving the roads at dusk, my brothers Bill and Don would shoot jackrabbits to feed her habit. And so she quickly grew from a tiny pup into a coyote. And as she did, she got wilder and wilder until finally that was all she wrote. Dad had already been keeping her away from any visiting crowd. He said she was just too unpredictable whenever things got loud. And gradually she had become my brother Don's, and Don's alone. And she got so that feeding her was touchy. And Queenie was nearly grown. Now there'd been some talk of freeing her, but Don was holding back. And then one day Dad walked in and he said, Don, you're going to turn that coyote loose today. That damn thing attacked. Well, it seemed that Dad had been headed to the barn, and without thinking as he walked by Queenie, he stuck out his arm. He meant to give her a friendly pat, and instead, dripping blood, he drew his hand back. 3 times she got him. Got him good. Dad told Don, this is no maybe or should. This is something you'll do. You turn her loose before I get home. You get her out of here. You let her roam. Because if she's still here when I get back, you won't like the way I do this task. So with tears in his eyes and a lump in his throat, Don took Queenie down to the pasture, and he took off her rope. And in a single bound, she was up and gone, ready for freedom. She was moving on. Well, Don came home depressed at the loss of his friend, and we all wondered if we'd ever see her again. Well, next summer I was driving a tractor in the field just east of the house, and as always, turning that dirt scared up many a mouse. And as I looked back, there was a coyote, right there in the middle of the day, just tagging along, not 10 yards away. She followed for maybe 5 minutes, then stopped, and I watched her grow smaller as the field crest I topped. She took off at a lope and was soon out of sight, but Queenie had come back. It seemed only right. We all speculated on the reason for her unexpected visit. Was it some distant memory of us, or was it just those mice so exquisite? Well, we never saw Queenie again, but you know, that was all right. We knew she'd made it. She was wild in the night. And when off in the distance we'd hear the coyotes howl, bark, and yip, we'd think of Queenie, and an easy smile would come to our lip. She was home with her kind, where she was meant to be. Queenie was gone, but Queenie was free. Now, how many guys, okay, we're going to move away from the farm. Obviously, how many guys have seen the movie The 300? Okay, so we're all familiar with the story. I love stories of bravery in the face of overwhelming odds. We've got the story of the Alamo. We've got the story of Geronimo and his fight against the U.S. But the story of Thermopylae is one of the most amazing. And so this is a poem I wrote that's just called Thermopylae. To Thermopylae from across the sea, the Persian army came, moving in hundreds of thousands, and death was in their name. This was the army of Xerxes, the king of half the world, and Greece was next, and in sight the challenge had been hurled. At Thermopylae, there by the sea, the Spartans lay in wait. One small snack they seemed, if Xerxes would but take the bait. The only pass at Thermopylae was filled by Sparta's tiny band, while even Xerxes marveled at the pomp and grandeur here at his command. Like a brooding, swollen tick, his army's bloated mass spread across the land, and the Spartans looked upon it and said, "Here we stand." Behind the Spartans lay a Greece that had never joined together, and now they knew at last they must, or wear the Persian yoke forever. But it would take time to organize, prepare an army, time to make their way. Time was what they needed most, and the Spartans said, "We stay."
And to that narrow pass 10 times 10,000 men were hurled by the god King Xerxes, who meant to rule the world. He would crush them quickly, this rebellious spirit quell. But as fast as Xerxes' soldiers came, faster still they fell, and laughing as they slew them. You could hear the Spartans yell, "Welcome to Greece, good foe, and to the gates of hell." For days on end, a handful stood against Xerxes' mighty force, and though he professed no fear, he could not help but wonder at this change of course. Xerxes could not bear defeat. He brooked no challenge to his godhead. The commanders who did not fall to Greece died broken at his feet instead. And finally, aided by betrayal, some of his men found their way around, traveled across the mountains over higher ground, and now attack from behind and front, onward Persia came. The brave Spartans bore the brunt. They knew the end of game, and still their laughter filled the day, and bloody swords stood death at bay. And in one voice they were heard to say, "For free men everywhere, for Greece we stay." Every Spartan warrior, the famed 300, fell at Thermopylae. They didn't have to die that day. The chance was there to flee. But they were Spartans. They knew their duty, and they loved the land. So when given the choice, they said, "It's here we make our stand." In the aftermath of battle, the Persians were destroyed. A united Greece fell upon the beast with a fierce and mighty roar. Remember the Spartan sacrifice. Let it not be in vain. Drive Xerxes' army into the dirt to never rise again. Remember Thermopylae and the mighty Spartan cry, "Here we stay, here we stand, here for Greece we die." You know, I've written thousands of poems. It's just something that I've done since I was very young. And I always wanted to write one about the Alamo, and it hasn't happened yet. I've sat down a number of times because it's that same thing of people who had every opportunity to be somewhere else and decided that there was a higher principle. And you know, we've got a lot of military folks who make that same choice day to day in our community. Well, they're finishing up their judging. I've got a couple more I want to share with you. The latest book that I put out is called Rose Petal Poems. And this particular poem is one that I wrote for and about my wife Joan. And it's called The House That We Two Fill. I'm awake and up and rambling about this house in the middle of the night. I just shut the bedroom door where Joan is sleeping tight, and I made myself a cup of tea and I sat down, and it occurred to me that we two fill this house. Despite its rambling rooms, it's just the two of us that make it grow and bloom. When I shut that bedroom door, I heard a gentle snoring, and I just had to chuckle, because that woman's anything but boring. She's an Energizer bunny. Even in her sleep, she can't just lie there quiet. She must be counting sheep or helping someone out, maybe looking after me. Through the years, I've come to count on that, but that can't always be. Two of us fill this house, all 2 stories tall, but someday it will be just one of us wandering down the hall. The thought hit me hard tonight. I really don't know why. Maybe it's the passing years. They're starting to pile high. But 2 of us, we fill this house, every board and beam, one of us alone here. How different that must seem. I wonder if the love we've shared, all the memories made, can fill the empty space that's left by the turning of the spade. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust, and time just rolls along. The years beget the decades, and one of us is gone. Cup in hand, quietly I stand at the bedroom door, and silently I watch her sleep. No more gentle snore, just the rise and fall, the breathing amidst the crumpled covers that bring to mind the many times we rolled together here as lovers. And I look around at this life we've found in the house that we two fill, and I realize that as long as there is one, so too the other will. A life cannot run forever like a river to the sea. It has its start. It has its finish for you, for her, for me. But live it well and fear be damned. And gently I touch her hand and shut the door and for a moment stand and think about this house that we two fill. And I just have to laugh because some part of us always will. In a haunted house, the spirits sing and tend the flowers in the spring, and a shadowy specter sways in the swing near the arbor where the roses cling. It's ghosts in the moonlight, providing a thrill as they wander room to room in this house that we two fill. One of the things that happened when I got to be the poet laureate for the state of Oklahoma, I don't know how many of you guys know Loren Winters. Well, Loren is what you would call a character. And he decided that if I was going to be the poet laureate for the state of Oklahoma, I needed to upgrade my attire. And he bought me this really nice Western outfit, boots, and everything. And I don't dress that much Western, but it looked good. When they had the first reception, I'm wearing the stuff because Loren, he actually made me a cowboy hat, cut the cowhide out. I mean, it was really great. And so I came in, and you had the people that come down from the Oklahoma City area. And they came down, and they walked in, and they looked, and it didn't look like that. And one said, "Oh my God, we got a cowboy." And I thought that'd be okay in Oklahoma. Apparently they weren't real thrilled with that idea initially. But what happened is I did a couple of appearances, and they kind of liked it better. And then they had a deal up in Oklahoma City, and they had the head of Poetry Out Loud for the entire nation was there. And I did a presentation, and she came out, and she was from Chicago, and she bragged on me, and right away they said, "Oh, he's our guy." And so after that, I got to make a lot of appearances for them. But there was a lot of confusion. Was I a cowboy poet? And it's funny, because I'm not cowboy enough for the cowboy poets, and I'm a little too much whatever for some of them. I just do what I do. But I was thinking about this cowboy stuff, and we had to go down. I was doing a deal down in Dallas, and so we're taking the plane down, and I was sitting there, and I was going, wait a minute, I don't want to be a cowboy poet. I want to be a gunslinger poet. Now, wouldn't that be an upgrade? So the last poem I want to share with you is that's what it's called. I wrote this on the plane on the way down to Dallas. It's called Gunslinger Poet. If he's a true gunslinger poet, you won't even know it until he nails your mind to a chair. Just have to listen. There's nowhere to turn. Wherever you try, he's right there. His words fill your emotions like a morning devotion. His lines stir thoughts of love. His rhymes fill the ocean, reveal all you're hoping. Recall the angels above. And when he lets go, there's a hole in your soul where all the certainty lived. Another notch on his gun, and now he must run. It's a gift he has to give. He's a gunslinger poet. And by now you must know it. He's pointing his pen right at you. Right from the start, he aimed for your heart. It's what a gunslinger poet must do. Thank you.
So did we give away all our prizes?
The door prizes, there's one more, but it's at the very end.
Oh, so we can't jump the order.
I don't know, that's not,
Okay.
I just worked with
So the judges are still out.
I think they're still deliberating.
The judges.
I mean, with
Quit
a
that.
competition like me, it's hard to pick.
So the judges are still deliberating.
Yes.
So, all right, wait a minute. Did I bring any encore stuff? Yeah, here we go. I'll tell you a quick story. I wrote poems all my life since I was very, very little, but they were personal and private, and I never, for many years, didn't share them with anybody. I don't think my folks knew that I wrote poetry. I just wrote poetry because it was a fulfilling process to me. as Joan and I have been together for a lot of years, I would share poetry with her, and she'd say, "That's a good poem, you should say that." And I'd go, "Yeah, yeah, yeah," and I'd throw it away. And I did that for years and years, and finally, she started following along behind me, picking those pieces of paper up. And I like sharing inspirational stories. And I had some friends that sent me a story, and it was a wonderful story, but it didn't seem to be written well enough. And I grabbed a pen, and I had a poem that really wrote itself. And I finally shared it publicly. I happened to be doing a speaking thing in front of the retired educators. And they were so encouraging and so receptive. In fact, they had given me information on how to copyright things. I think back on that, guys, and how important it is that we support each other for that still small voice within. Because I promise you that when I was stepping outside that comfort zone, if those people at the retired educator still had been unkind in any way, I would never have shared another poem. It would have been, and I'd still be writing poems, but they would never have become part of the public. But they were so nice and so encouraging that I stepped outside that, and so for many years now I've been sharing poems, and I've written 10 books that we've got published on poems, and I'm working on like a lot more, and it's been really rewarding. But that encouragement made all the difference, and I thank those people every day. And so maybe you've never written a poem in your life. If you could just be an encouraging voice for the people that are, you will have done your task. And I want you to know, this is the very first poem that I ever wrote that I felt like I would like to share it publicly. And in fact, this is the first poem that I did share publicly. And so when I put out my first book, Reflections of a Wandering Mind, this was the first poem in it. There is a mighty battle. It rages deep within. The winner is as yet unknown. Will it be good or sin? On one side is an eagle knight, vision long and soaring flight, talent sharp and judgment bright, a winged warrior for the right. All actions made in honor, all notions straight and true, lend wind beneath these mighty wings and lift me with a few. For paths of rightness never need to fear the surging crowd. It's cold and lonely, yet bright and clear, where the angels sing aloud. It's there my eagle flies alone, with cares and trials below. From valleys deep he soars aloft to mountains capped with snow. The other warrior in this fray is dark and fright to see, a wolf in visage, raging wild, the worst inside of me. He feasts upon my failures and gorges with a pack. His allies in this darksome meal, they feed upon my lack. When kindness fails and wisdom falls and love forgotten lies, these snarling demons leap to pull the flesh from hope that dies. Wolf-led, this cold-eyed pack stalks my weakness and my need. Their numbers strong with names to fear, sloth, hate, jealousy, and greed. There is an epic battle. The outcome still unknown. Wolf or eagle, who will win? Which one will reign alone? Within me lies the answer that I need. I know the one to claim my soul will be the one I feed. As I said, the thought was not original with me. In fact, I was doing some research on that, and it turns out that in almost every human culture, there's that story of that good and that evil that's right there inside us, and often represented by different types of animals. How are the judges doing? Okay, well I only got one more. I can read it slow. This is from Rose Petal Poems. It's called For Lovers Everywhere. Oh, Danny boy, the pipers are all gone, and Romeo and Juliet will never see the dawn. Mark Antony and Cleopatra fell to sword and bite, and only we are left to speak for love tonight. What can we say? Except life is fleet, and the taste of love is oh, so sweet. Goodbye to Jack and Jackie, and to the mighty Camelot halls, farewell to Don Juan, whose search for love took all. Gone King Edward, woman rather than throne, and Lancelot and Guinevere were the only love they'd known, great love, passion pure, burned upon the pyre. And only you and I are left to feel love's fierce desire. For lovers everywhere, it must be you and me. So hold me, dear, and kiss me sweet. Just we two hold the key. You know, I'll tell you what, while they're tolling, open mic. Who was first on open mic? I don't have my list in front of me, so.
Tracy Noor.
Tracy, where are you? Come on, Tracy. Come on. I don't have my list, so you have to tell them what your selection is and brag on it a little bit, okay?
I'll try to remember to breathe this time. I'm reading Paul Laurence Dunbar's Sympathy. It's been one of my favorites since the 7th grade, so I hope you guys like it. I know what the caged bird sings. I know what the caged bird feels, alas, when the sun is bright on the upland slopes, when the wind stirs soft through the springing grass, and the river flows like a stream of glass. When the first bird sings and the first bud opes, and the faint perfume from its chalice steals, I know what the caged bird feels. I know why the caged bird beats his wing, till its blood is red on the cruel bars, for he must fly back to his perch and cling, when fain he would be on a boa swing. And a pain still throbs in the old scars, and they pulse again with a keener sting. I know why he beats his wing. I know why the caged bird sings on me, when his wing is bruised and his bosom sore, when he beats his bars and would be free. It is not a carol of joy or glee, but a prayer he sends from his heart's deep core, but a plea that upward to heaven he flings. I know why the caged bird sings.
Charlotte? Please welcome Charlotte Hightower.
I didn't realize till after I picked my poems out of my notebook that I was going to read tonight that they were all military based, so I guess I have a theme going. So I wrote this one a couple of years ago, I shared. It's called Who Is He? Kind of a tongue twister, so hopefully I can pace myself. He's fought upon the highest mountains, on thirsty deserts and unfastened plains, fought in dazzling fever and sunshine, in bitter snowfalls and in rains. He's fought his way through overgrown bush, treaded the sand on distant beaches, fought in dark infested swamps, alongside gators, snakes, and leeches. He's fought in frigid foxholes when his feet were frozen numb. He's been in the sweltering jungle heat with only his memories, canteen, and a gun. He's fought in dark, endless tunnels, in fields painted with flowers and blood. He's been badly wounded within battle, yet continued to fight for what he loves. He's fought with blind, absolute fury, with gut-wrenching fear. He's knelt beside fallen comrades, unable to mask his tears. He's fought with muskets and with swords, with his helmet and his fist, fought hand-to-man many a time against those his bullets may have missed. Behind stone walls he has fought, from the trenches and from tanks. He's paraded in grandiose courtyards where people offered both ridicule and thanks. He's fought valiant and with honor in each fight that he was in, asking only for respect and recognition, for wars they would not let him win. His name is there on Bunker Hill. It's etched on that long black wall. He's your American soldier, and he's there, and he's still fighting and standing tall.
Rebecca, did you get your poem?
Is that back to us?
Mm-hmm.
You're not
Okay. Well, I wanted to hear about the woman from Italy.
I heard she's great.
Lori Sherman.
You skipped one, didn't you?
No, because they told me Richard wasn't here. Okay, so, trust me, we got this. Lori Sherman.
Woo! You want to talk real nervous. The microphone's scaring me. Okay, I work at Acme House, so I had to read this poem just simply as an awareness thing. Okay? Take it for what it's worth. I got flowers today. It wasn't my birthday or any other special day. We had our first argument last night, and he said a lot of cruel things that really hurt me. And I know he's sorry, and he didn't mean the things he said, because he sent me flowers today. I got flowers today, and it wasn't our anniversary or any other special day. Last night, he threw me into a wall and started to choke me. It seemed like a nightmare. I couldn't believe it was real. I woke up this morning sore and bruised all over, and I know he must be sorry, because he sent me flowers today. I got flowers today, and it wasn't Mother's Day or any other special day. Last night, he beat me up again. And it was much worse than the other times. If I leave him, what will I do? How will I take care of my kids? And what am I going to do about money? I'm afraid of him and scared to leave, but I know he must be sorry because he sent me flowers today. I got flowers today. Today is a very special day. It's the day of my funeral. Last night, he finally killed me. He beat me to death. If only I had gathered enough courage and strength to leave him, I would not have gotten flowers today.
Wow.
The Acme House does a lot of great work for women who are needing it. And I don't know the exact figures on that, but I know from talking to folks down there that it takes a lot of tries before most women get the nerve to finally break that off, and sometimes it is too late. So if anybody knows folks are experiencing that, and there's no reason to be experiencing that. It's time to be doing something else. Life is too short. Are you ready for your opportunity here? We're gonna put you to work here.
Okay.
Please welcome Suzanne with what?
Am I reading or?
Yeah, whichever you want to do. It's all in your hands. So you got the results right there.
I have the results.
Let's do that first. Come on up.
Okay. Okay, first of all, I want to thank everybody who participated. Really appreciate it. Okay, so as far as results go, for the student competition, our third place winner is Marion Calloway.
Group photo, photo.
Yeah, we're gonna get it. We're gonna get it.
We can get all three.
Okay, and for our second place winner, I have Charlotte Hightower.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Thank you, and if you can just sign it and leave the paper there. Okay. And our first place winner is Latricia Saxton. Great job. Congratulations. And you'll just sign that. Okay, and can I go ahead and get a group photo with these our winners? Jim, do you have, okay, you're ready?
I'm ready for the winners, and then we'll get the group.
Okay.
Come on.
Suzanne, get in the picture, please. Thank you.
Okay,
Everybody
a little
ready?
closer. Family photo. 1, 2, 3. One more. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay.
All right. Good job, everybody.
All right, and now we have our non-student category. Our third place winner is Kaylin Sherman. Very much. And our second place winner is Linda Pinkham. Okay, and our first place winner is Neva King.
Well, those who read have to come up and help too.
Oh.
You did your share.
There you go. Okay, if you can just sign that and just leave the paper there.
We're going to turn sideways.
All right. Get you.
Okay, 1, 3. Very good.
All right.
All right. Now we have another prize to give away, right?
Yeah, we can do it.
So okay, hold that. Put the karma in there on that. Here's the basket. Wait a minute, man. Can you draw my number? All right, if you'll try, that's all a guy can ask, right, guy? All right, reach in there. Wait, what if you draw your number? You know what? It's okay. You draw your number, we're going to count it. Is that the one? All right, give us, what does it say?
980903.
90. Who got that? Ask him if he's going to share with you. So did we give away all of our prizes? Or?
We did, yeah. We've got a couple more people to read.
Okay. We have you. Is Taylor on the list again? Well, Taylor, then you should be up here. Please welcome Taylor. Give her a hand.
An eerie vibe is lingering in the air lately. It seems as though people are letting things get to themselves, quite frankly. Going out on a limb just to try to one up on someone. It'll hit the fan, and then what's done is done. Pushing the envelope, and one day it'll be sealed. Lots of tension as a guilt and guilt. Paranoia will soon set in, crawling underneath everyone's skin. And all it could be is simply diffuse. There are those who just simply refuse. All the problems most likely would never have occurred if people minded their own. Apparently, this is not just common sense, but it's not evenly known.
Who was it said common sense is not so common? Somebody famous did say that. Well, guys, there's a lot of, who?
Mark
Twain?
Yeah. Oh.
Sure it wasn't Lincoln?
You will understand.
Okay, all right.
You would have said it.
There's a lot of work that's gone into putting this together, and again, it's so great to see the support of the people who are sharing the poetry. And we've got up next, Suzanne, you're off duty as an organizer, you are on duty as a poet.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you. I wanted to tell a story a little bit about this one. This one was a poem that my mother wrote, Rebecca Rooker, to my father, Bruce Rooker, whenever she was 17. So it's titled If He Should Go. If he should go, what would I be? A tuneless song, a drifting sea, with no destination, a wandering heart, in the drama of life, a worthless part. If he should go, what would I do? Roam the vast world in search of a clue. For what vain cause my life I'd be living, if he should not need the love I was giving. Let me not fear, for in my heart I know, his love is so great, he could not go. We're going to open up the mic now for whoever wants to read a poem that hasn't had a chance to. If you just want to come up or just raise your hand, Eddie will call on you. Also, at the very end, if we could get all the people who read together, we want to do a group picture. Okay? All right, thanks you guys.
Yeah. All right, let's have a hand for all the poets. Come on.
I saw a hand go up. Come on. Tell us a story, give us a poem.
This is just one of my favorite poems that I wrote, and this one is from 1995, and it just kind of sums up the reason that I write poetry, I suppose. The name of it is Solo. Words that were written where there was no voice, the paper retained where there was no choice. It was so easy the way words flowed, in poetry form my feelings showed. And though most of all were deep and dark, still it comforted, welcomed the solo lark. A singing heart carried the sound to my companion, myself I found.
Yeah, one of the things as you write poetry, you find out that it does help you sort out the things that you're feeling, even if it never goes beyond just the words you wrote down on paper. Linda, all right, come on up.
First of all, let's thank the judges. I can't imagine how they could have, from the serious to the more lighthearted, they really, not just because I was okay.
It was actually really difficult. We were fighting.
It was, yes, all right. This is something I was given by someone I met, just kind of by chance at a funeral, as she opened up her heart and her home for my family in Oklahoma City after my brother died. But this was 2001. My event was in December, but this is about 9/11. Where Was God is the name of the poem, and it was written by Carlene Straub Deckett. Dear God, where were you in the midst of the horror of this day? Where were you when the hijackers commandeered the planes? Where were you when the planes crashed into the buildings, taking lives, spewing destruction? Where were you in the midst of such overwhelming evil? Where was I, you ask? I was there in the gift of free will. Man chose evil. I was there in the midst of the dying, welcoming them into my arms. I was there in the rescue workers and trained and untrained, who chose good and responded with courage and compassion. I was there with the news media, who did their best to keep you informed, conveying to you without rehearsed script, and with periods of mute silence, where there were no words to describe the human tragedy of this day, the result of man choosing evil. I will be there in the days ahead. To those who choose good, I offer hope, I offer comfort, I offer peace. I offer strength to overcome the pain. You will see me manifested in the goodness of people as people search inside themselves and act out of goodness they find there. You will see me as people reach out to each other without questions, without judgments, waiting only to help, closing ranks against the forces of evil. You will see me when the routine life becomes to a halt, and in response to evil, goodness reigns triumphant.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, come on, I saw that hand up. You're committed now.
I wrote this poem one Sunday after talking to my grandfather. He inspired it because he was just talking about the things that we go through in life. Sometimes we feel alone, but you know, when we look up and finally see that God was there all the time. The title of my poem is called There You Were. In the quiet of your sovereign peace, I look back over my life, realizing this truth which was never known to me, because I was too busy thinking I was alone. Alone to face the darkness that lurked around what seemed to be every corner. Alone to deal with my own hopeless thoughts. Alone to tread upon the serpents and scorpions. Alone to conquer the hardships of life. Alone to bear grief and despair. Oh, but how misled and deceived was I. I have come to see that the raging storm was kept at bay because you were there. I remained afloat in a bottomless pit because you were there. The devil didn't snuff my life out too soon because you were there. You were there as you left the 99 to come after this one. You were there shielding me from harm I had no awareness of. You were there with open arms when I finally came to the end of me. That's when I could see, without drunkenness or confusion. For the first time, I was sober from the intoxication of this world. And with glory and power, there you were.
Come on. It's too late to be shy. Come on.
Actually, I really wanted to hear High Flight by John Gillespie Jr. And he was gone, so I thought I'd do it. Oh, I've slipped the surly bonds of earth and danced the skies on laughter's silvered wings. Sunward I've climbed and joined the tumbling mirth of sun-split clouds and done 100 things you have not dreamed of. Wheeled and soared and swung, high in the sunlit silence, hovering there I've chased the shouting winds along and flung my eager craft through footless halls of air. Up, up, the long delirious burning blue, I've topped the windswept heights with easy grace where neither lark or even eagle flew. And while with silent lifting mind I've trod the high, untrespassed sanctity of space, reached out my hand and touched the face of God.
Wow.
That is a really great piece of writing. That, you know, they found that in the pocket of a pilot who had been killed. I think of World War I believe. Now you see, most of you guys are too young. You know, we used to hear that every night. That every television station they had sign on. They did it. It was great. You'd stay up all night waiting for them to sign off. But you know, about midnight. That's as late as we stayed up then. Come on up, yeah.
guys might not know this, but I'm a musician. I play a guitar, piano, the harmonica, and I sing for the Altus Varsity Choir here. So most of my songs, they start as poems, and I just put a beat or rhythm to it. This is actually designated to my best friend. Me and him have been best friends since the 1st to 2nd grade, and I promised him, like, no matter what happened, I'd be there for him. And because of my stupid mistakes, I was not able to go to his dad's funeral or be there for him when he died. So the song goes like this, but I'm gonna read it as a poem. I said, I had a best friend. Man, he was cool. His mom and dad made him and his sister go to school. And time passed, it even flew. Anybody who's lived can tell that was true. Yeah, I got into a little trouble. And yeah, I was sent away on the double. And I promised my best friend again and again, no matter what happened, I'd be there for him. But trauma hit him, and I cried, oh cried, because I wasn't there when his daddy died. Breaking a promise, hey, 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 breaking a promise every day. Breaking a promise you don't mean to, breaking a promise, but only a few. There's a soldier at home going a desert storm. He made a promise to his wife that no matter what happened, he was going to stay alive. If that night in battle her husband died, she was laying home awake, and her baby cried. She heard a knock at the door, and the general said he was sorry, but her husband died in the war. Oh, she cried, oh cried. He broke a promise, but he didn't try.
All right, we've heard a lot of voices. Come on, please.
Dad can't see any longer to read one of his passions, so I'm going to read this for him. You want to say anything about your type of poems? They're all pretty funny. This one he wrote has been a favorite of our little circles and family. It's called Ugly Me. I was born down on the Kiamichi River. The doctor said he's too ugly to deliver. My dad took a look and headed for cover. I was so darned ugly, the doc slapped my mother. As I grew older, I looked like a hick, like my father had whipped me with a big ugly stick. I haven't improved on my looks since. People say I'm ugly as an old mud fence. Can't have any dreams, can't have any hope. I'll always be ugly as homemade soap. Arthur King.
Well, guys, there's a lot of ways to look at this whole world, and we've seen a bunch of them. Thanks again to everybody for sharing.
I want to thank our judges. I really appreciate it. They are Charles Cusperson, Ida Day Winters, and Kristen Blanco.
All right.
So, thanks, you guys. Anyone else? Nope. Okay. Well, anyone? Okay. Well, thank you guys so much for coming. And I think that's it.
Good night.
Yeah. Good night. Have a great night.